Tonight, a KXAN investigative update into Texas peace officers using their badges to avoid prison. 2 years ago, we first revealed that since 2015, nearly 300 criminally accused Texas peace officers had made such plea deals in court by giving up their peace officer licenses.
Today, that number has grown to nearly 450 officers with no signs of slowing down. But as investigator Jody Barr learned, bills have been introduced at the Capitol that could take away that bargaining power and instead give the state more ability to police its police.
Do you know the status on the other drivers?
They're extremely serious, man. Life-threatening injuries.
El Paso police officer Alan Dieguez never went to jail after this deadly crash in Williamson County in 2016. Police records show Dieguez was running 100 miles an hour when he slammed into the back of Dane Rudder's 18-wheeler. Investigators say Rudder got out to check on Dieguez when another vehicle hit and killed the truck driver. The crash report shows Dieguez was driving drunk with a blood alcohol level of more than twice the legal limit.
I'm not getting hit with intox, man, am I?
Dude, I'm not the arresting officer, man. I don't know. I have no idea.
Intoxication manslaughter is exactly what a Williamson County grand jury indicted Dieguez for, with a mandatory minimum of 2 and a maximum of 20 years in prison. He later pleaded guilty to that felony charge, agreeing to surrender his peace officer license. In return, the prosecutor made a deal: probation and to dismiss other charges in the case. The judge sentenced Dieguez to probation and 120 days in the county jail. 2 years later, he still has not served that sentence. For years, victims across Texas have watched courts approve deals like that. Prosecutors tell us they do this to get officers who shouldn't be policing off the streets. They point to Texas law, where it takes a conviction on a felony or a high-level misdemeanor before the state can permanently revoke a peace officer's license. That hurdles led prosecutors to resolve criminal cases this way, instead of gambling on a jury trial to get that conviction. In the last 5 years, 450 officers surrendered their licenses. Most avoided prison. Some avoided prosecution altogether. Only 17 officers, that's 4%, spent any time in jail. In 354 of those cases, nearly 80%, the officer got 0 days behind bars.
I did make it, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't know why, but I'm just thankful for every minute.
Michelle Gonzalez watched as a judge accepted a plea deal from former Austin ISD officer Adam Marsh. Gonzalez believes these could have been the last few steps of her life. A surveillance video from a South Austin gas station shows the off-duty officer make a U-turn and run the woman over. Then he just keeps going. Marsh was later indicted on a felony count of an accident involving serious bodily injury. He said he never saw Gonzalez and didn't know he'd hit anyone.
A former Austin ISD police officer is not facing any jail time for a hit-and-run accident.
Although Gonzalez suffered severe injuries and went into a coma, prosecutors cut Marsh a deal. He initially faced 2 to 10 years in prison, but Marsh pleaded no contest, and in exchange for permanently surrendering his peace officer license, got deferred adjudication and 80 hours of community service.
Texas has always been a leader in law enforcement, but in this particular area, in my opinion, we've fallen behind.
Kim Vickers leads the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement, the state agency charged with licensing and delicensing peace officers. Without a criminal conviction, Vickers admits current Texas law prevents TCOL from doing much of anything to discipline peace officers.
I may be a little blunt with this, but we've got people out there that don't need to be wearing a badge and gun. I just truly believe that in my heart, and there's not, and we sit here and look, and our job is to regulate that, and we're kind of hamstrung a little bit as to what we can do on some of that.
Texas lawmakers are considering 2 bills, one in the Senate, the other in the House, that would allow TCOL to strip a license for less than a criminal conviction. The House bill would give TCOLE the power to subpoena and investigate an accused officer and issue a temporary emergency suspension of a license, but only in cases of immediate threat. The Senate bill goes much further, giving TCOLE the power to suspend or revoke a license for any violation, including immoral and unethical acts, multiple excessive force cases, civil rights violations, and even a violation of TCOLE rules.
I think that we need to deal with issues like that, and with people that have shown behaviors and actions that say the public should not be subjected to this person's authority, and that we need to be able to do something about that.
So if TCOLE could take away a peace officer's license, it would take away that bargaining chip in court. The result? Officers could face the same punishment as any other person convicted of the same crimes.
As long as it contains due process, count us in.
Kevin Lawrence heads the Texas Municipal Police Association, which represents 30,000 peace officers across the state. Although Lawrence agrees with the bills, he says they still don't lay out the process for an accused officer to defend himself.
The whole concept of should the state have the authority to revoke or suspend somebody's license to practice law, somebody's license to, practice medicine, somebody's license to be a peace officer, somebody's certificate to be a teacher. Yeah, there should be a process.
The House bill is headed to the floor for a full vote, and the Senate bill is still sitting in committee awaiting a hearing. We'll keep following up. But here's a look at what this legislation could do in Texas. In the past 5 years, nearly 450 Texas peace officers have permanently surrendered their licenses. During that same time, Georgia's version of TCOLE revoked more than 3,600 licenses. Georgia can do that because, unlike Texas, Georgia's regulatory agency can take action for far less than a criminal conviction. For instance, when an officer is terminated, resigns in lieu of termination, or even gets demoted. Again, in Texas, TCOLE does not currently have that authority. Jody Barr, KXAN Investigates.
Online now, check out our original investigation, Bargaining the Badge, and the case files we created for some of these officers making plea deals. You can find a link in this story in the investigative section of KXAN.com.